At WellStar, we believe in more. More doctors who are highly experienced and highly rated by people like you. More teams of caregivers who are world-renowned and designed around your unique needs. And more expert care and unwavering compassion across many specialties. Because we believe in the power of expertise and empathy. WellStar, it's more than healthcare. It's people care.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Welcome back to Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two best friends recap romance novels while fawning over narrators and having strong opinions about forehead kisses.
Stack our shelves with the clinches out. Shout it from the rooftop, can you hear the sound? Yeah. Live your best life, love it out loud. Love it out loud.
Hey HBs, this is part 2 of our recap of The King by Nana Malone. If it's all new to you, check back in your feed one day. We published part 1 yesterday. Okay, when we left you, our junior agent and her trainee were going into their first field mission, posing as newlyweds, which means even more forced proximity and a fake relationship. Let's get into it. So they go in, they're set up in this, honeymoon cottage situation, and then they meet Massimo and his girlfriend.
Yeah, what's her name?
Oh, no. His girlfriend, Dahlia.
No.
Georgette. His girlfriend, Georgette.
Yep. We're going with that one. I like that. Georgette.
No, what is it actually before I
it's
go insane?
It's Graciela, but we're Georgetting. So this is also when I realized I need to go back and read Rules Undercover because we meet Ariel Winston, who was a palace guard and ends up the queen. And I need to read that one. It's number 1 cheeky royal, by the way. So Anyway, God, her back catalog. I went down.
I know
the whole Mel. So they are playing couple.
And they have to get used to touching on each other.
And practicing like smooches and little like forehead kisses.
Ooh.
How do you feel about forehead kisses, Mel?
I am not a fan. I feel like I forehead kiss children, and that's it. If you're romantic with me, your lips do not need to be near my forehead. That it feels...
That's so
it's always
interesting.
Felt kind of condescending.
See, I like it. And I'm wondering, have you always been that way?
I think so.
Huh.
I've either been of the no opinion clan or the hates it clan.
I'm wondering if part of it is that you have kids. I wonder if something changed. I don't know.
No?
Mm-mm. It's just interesting. Because, I didn't realize that was such a divisive thing.
Yeah, I hate it.
People have hard opinions on it, and it just never crossed my mind. I love a little forehead kiss, and I think it's because I'm just so tall that I feel like a forehead kiss. Like if you're coming up to
that's
because
fair.
it's specifically somebody from above me, cupping my face and tilting me up and little smoochy smooch. It just makes me feel so warm and fuzzy. Granted, I also never got forehead. That wasn't a thing. It wasn't a child thing for me. I didn't get forehead.
It wasn't for me either. But the image I get when a forehead kiss happens is child in footy pajamas, forehead kiss, pat him on the butt on the way up the stairs, go to bed. You know, that's the image I get. It's very specific.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There's layers.
Okay. All right. Meanwhile,
Anyway.
I'm like, I'll call you daddy. So anyway.
So they go to this party and they see Massimo and Graciela, and Massimo immediately tries to turn them into swingers.
Yeah, like there's
Immediately.
He gets Graciela in on it too. Like he has her bring her out, and he's like, "You open?" And
How
she's
does
like,
Lachlan feel about sharing?
Mhm.
And he's like, and he comes werewolf shifter coded because he heard it from across the fucking ballroom. I swear to God.
He actually heard it through her earpiece.
Oh.
Did you think they were talking? He was talking to her the whole time.
about that.
Yeah, because like he's like Massimo's being like, "Hey, baby, let me stick it in," and he's in her ear like, "I'm gonna,
Yeah.
Like, so he shows up and he's like, "Get away from my wife," and like smooches, like snuggles up on her and like very much possessive. And then they find out that Massimo is having their house bugged.
Her older brother, okay, listen, my brother listens to podcasts every once in a while. I have had some, conversations with my siblings, let's just say, as like a person who was a sexual health educator. You know what I mean? Like my comfort level is pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
But imagining my older brother being like, your villa is bugged, so you have to put on a really good show for being newlyweds.
Well, especially because it's audio-visual bug. It's not like they can. It's not like they can just like in the background be like,
right.
like they have to like. That sound's got to be made a certain kind of way, you know?
There
And
needs to be positions
well, and the
and
funniest
less
thing.
clothes.
The funniest thing is that Georg. Nope. Fuck.
Gabe.
Shit. I was thinking Gabe
This
too.
name thing is catching. It's great.
Oh no. He's like, you don't have to fuck, but like make it like believable. And she's like, in what world is that not
How?
sex, bro?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I guess you can put on those, but like they didn't bring pasties. They didn't
Also,
bring
like,
actor pasties where you just
also,
put a
like,
sock on it or whatever.
how do you just gotta walk around like that all day? You know?
Right. It's wild. It's
So
wild.
anyway, well, but then listeners, so they get back. And this is their first time having sex in this book. And it's great. They are like sassy teasing each other getting into this house, and then they're in that front foyer.
And the show he's putting on is, did you want him? Like, oh, were you? Did you want him? And she's like, I only want you. And he's like, I can't believe this. You thought about it. And she's like, well, maybe I need somebody to step up and show some confidence and show them how much they want me, or I will look for something else. And he's like, I'll show you.
So the reason I went up and talked to Nana Malone at Steamy Lit, like I would have made my way over there at some point, is because Kim and I went to a panel that she was on, and she was talking about the main male characters in her books.
Yes.
And how she likes straddling that line, right? Like and I was like, I was intrigued. Nana Malone, you hooked me. And so I did go and chat with her, and everything that I've heard, everything that she said, every little bit, these two books, wow. Nana Malone
Cashed.
Check. You cashed that check. You cashed that check. Anyway. And oh boy, it was hot. It was like his dirty talk.
Oh my God, his dirty talk. And they've made a point that like this also, I'm so sorry, made no sense. They were like, we can call each other, because she's like making a big deal. She's like, this is life or death, okay? We have to be in character at all times before they get there.
I can't call you Saf.
Yeah, you can't. You have to call me Saffron. You cannot call me Saf.
Well, and like, so before
same for Locke and Lachlan.
It didn't clock. to me that they were going with their normal first name. So I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. He shouldn't call you Saf and you shouldn't call him Locke. Like, that makes sense because you're supposed to be, you know.
They changed her name.
You're supposed to be fucking Jane and John, right? And then I found out that there's Lachlan and Saffron.
Yeah.
Friends.
Right.
It's not that big of a deal.
And so he's got her like up against a wall. Her face is in the wall. And he says, Saf. And they both freeze because, oh my God, they've given away that they are spies somehow.
By the way.
Yes.
At this scene, he at one point like grabs her by the ass and like yoinks her into him. Yeah. And like the more and more I read that, you know what it is? It's specifically audiobooks.
Okay.
With certain narrators, but like when whatever his name is,
John Hartley, I think.
Yep. John, just turn it off if you're listening. It's about to get weird. He like when he fucking growled in my ear, "You are my wife, mine." I ground out, "My pussy." I palmed her arse and pulled her to me. My arse. Like all of the dirty talk when John Hartley, and honestly, Layla
Alari, like
her main male character voice is one of the best I've heard. Like, agreed. But like both of them growling all of the dirt. I forget how like flustered an audiobook can make me.
And
like,
how intimate it is. Yeah.
It is.
It's right in your ear.
It's right in your ear. And he's like,
right in your head bone.
My pussy.
Oh,
and I'm like,
God.
Is it? I mean, you can,
Sure, man. Yeah. That's news to me, but I'll co-sign.
Hey, signed, sealed, delivered. Thank you.
So they're meant to be putting on a show, right? And he says Saf, and they both freeze. And she says, "It's just you and me, Locke. It's just you and me." And then that's when they like actually start doing like serious, sexy things. And
he has her up against the wall, facing the wall. It is gorgeous, but it's also fucking hot, y'all.
Yes.
So she is like up against this wall, and he's like palming her and grinding on her ass, and like pulls her dress up over her ass. And then he's doing the fucking, I learned a cool word, thanks HB Chrissy. When I was trying to figure out tag logistics, I was like, between the thighs is too much. And so I learned the term intrafemoral penetration, which is between the thighs. So he's like intrafemorally penetrating her and like grinding on her and like getting his dick all wet.
But he's also like checking in with her, and she's the one that ends up tilting her pelvis in order to give him access. Yes.
And then they're going at it, and this was so cute because he like flips her around and picks her up. She's like, "Where are we going?" And he's like, "I'm taking you to the bedroom." And then he literally gets to the stairs, and he's like, "Nope, too far." And then he
can't do it.
Jets back to the couch and like lays her out. And then he tells her, I'm sorry, John Hartley tells me, "Before I get started, I'm going to need you to tell me whose pussy this is."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Yours, King." And it was
incredible.
It was great. He goes down on her. Both books, when he goes down on her, it is very clear that this man is feasting. Wolf shifter coded.
Yes, this is his favorite pastime.
Absolutely. And then he is fucking her on the couch. She comes like a freight train. And then he pulls her off the couch, bends her over the coffee table, and goes back at it. And he's biting her shoulder, listener.
Quite.
And says, "Now be a good girl and tell me whose pussy this is." And she doesn't say anything because she's just too into it. And then he bites her harder and said, "I said, whose pussy is this?" And it's great.
Wow.
They come like freight trains. And then I slammed into her again and again. And in that moment, I knew she was mine.
Yes.
And as I exploded hot jets of my release into her, with my brain struggling to hang on to reality, I knew I had fucked her before.
Dun, dun, dun.
This was like an unlock.
Yeah. No, we're not going Omegaverse on this one.
No, I didn't think that at all. I'm laughing because his nickname's Log.
Oh, gotcha.
I was feeling punny, not Omegaverse-y. I mean, I always feel Omegaverse-y.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So now he's like on edge because he knows that they have fucked before, but he still can't remember like the circumstances, the when, the how, the where. Like he doesn't know any of that. He just knows in his bones that they have had sex. So he decides that he's going to take a side quest and call his friend who was with him that night to see what happened within some of that 48 hours. And then she, meanwhile, is going to brunch with Graciela to, like, work her as an asset more. So he gets the description of the woman he was with from his friend. He finds out that, like, they left together. And he's like, holy fuck, that was definitely Saffron. And so she's been working me this whole time. She's been lying to me. She must have been part of the black bag situation.
Which, like, you know what?
Yes.
Fair luck.
Yeah, that is a fair assumption to come to.
I would also make
deduction.
These assumptions.
Yeah. So he's like, we have to talk about this because this is fucking bullshit. And if she could lie to me for so long, then, like, what was last night? What was it when she was saying it's just you and me instead of it's a show?
Yeah. So just want to say, Tabs, a lot of times in books, I'm like, you have a terrible best friend, MC. I need you to find a new friend. That is not the case here. Tabitha is a great fucking friend because he goes to Tabs about it when they get back to the compound or whatever. And he's like, what the fuck? I need to, like, talk to her. And Tabs basically gives him the fucking laydown. She's like, in what world? Like, before you judge her, let's fucking break this down. And then she breaks it all down for him. And she's like, because he's pissed. Rightfully so.
Obviously.
And Tabs is like, has she been lying to you, though? Or did she come to work one day, the guy that she had a one-night stand with shows up out of nowhere and then pretends not to know her as far as she's concerned? And then she realizes that he doesn't know her because he doesn't remember it at all, and she's his supervisor.
But
and
now
so
they're in too deep.
She's supposed to tell you, hey, you don't remember this, but you've had your cock in my pussy. Like, no, there's not an easy way.
There's not a world.
Don't.
So anyway, we're still on the mission, though, and she goes off to brunch with this lady. We find out that Graciela is like, oh, I need your help because I want to meet the guy I'm cheating on Massimo with. And then the henchman walks in. It's Drake Vandersleuth.
Unfortunately, it's Webster. So we've got another Georg on our hands.
Oh, no! A Dreorg, if you will. Because his name is Drake, right?
You are correct. We have a Georg and a Dreorg. I like it. He's sure spinning a web. Anyway.
This is the sound of your ride home with Dad after he caught you vaping. Awkward, isn't it? Most vapes contain seriously addictive levels of nicotine and disappointment. Know the real cost of vapes. Brought to you by the FDA.
At your job, do you ever have to deal with a nose roller? How about a snub pulley? Well, if you're installing a new conveyor belt system, dealing with the different components can sound like you're speaking a foreign language. Luckily, you've got a team ready to help. Grainger's technical product specialists are fluent in maintenance, repair, and operations. So whenever you want to talk shop, just reach out. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
So he walks in, they clock each other, and she's like, I have to pee real quick. And then she books it. She jumps out a window.
She red alerts it all. She's like, hey, red alert, we gotta go. And so they
burn it down.
Get out. Yeah. Basically.
The protocol is everybody on their own, no matter where they are, drops everything and goes to like a meetup point and then like escapes on the boat or whatever.
And if you don't make it to that meetup point, you're on your own, sucker.
you get to figure out your shit by yourself. But Lachlan, even though he's so mad at her, but then they get this, he sees that she specifically sent the red alert, and he's like, oh no, she's in trouble. She's in danger. Mm-hmm. And, like, he's going to go after her. And then Saint, their training buddy and, like, you know, hacker or whatever, next book, calls him. And
he's the hacker,
like,
but yeah.
Whatever, man. So he says...
Well, fuck me, I guess.
He says
also,
you're breaking protocol.
The third book is called The Rook. So he's probably book 3, huh?
Yeah, that would make sense.
Okay.
I think. Oh, okay. Anyway, so he says you're breaking protocol to Saint, and Saint says you're the one who answered the phone. And then they decide they're both going to go downtown to intercept her on her mad dash from brunch to wherever the fuck they're supposed to be to meet the jet ski or boat or helicopter or whatever. So she's running. She's running for her fucking life. She's losing clothes. She's putting on scarves. She's throwing money at people.
This was so sexy. I had such a competency boner for Saffron Abbott that it was painful. I understood Locke's dictuation.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but then she like goes through a thing, and there are dudes. They're shooting at her. They're milling through crowds trying to get her, right? And then a hand comes out once again and snaps onto her mouth and pulls her into the darkness of an alley. And he's like, "Are you okay?" And suddenly she realizes it's Locke. She's like, "I'm okay, but let's get on that motorcycle."
I'm also just gonna throw out there, Nana Malone knows how to write an action scene because this book was like watching a movie. Mm-hmm. Like during all of these action scenes, and I'm not a visual reader, right?
Yeah.
But certain authors, I am. Just because the way that they describe everything, and Nana Malone is a fucking wizard because I could see it like the movie scene where she's like walking through the alley and like taking off the scarf and looking around and then putting her hair up and like throwing the thing out and like, it's
so good. And like, and so Nana Malone actually, she writes a lot of spy and like heist and stuff like that because she's so good at these action scenes, I think.
Fucking good.
Yeah. So they end up meeting up with Saint and they get out of there. And now they're in trouble with Georg because they broke protocol. Everybody broke protocol. Nobody should have saved her. Nobody should have met up. Nobody's a team. And how dare you? And he's also questioning whether or not she actually saw Dreorg. Because nobody's really seen him very much. And like, she's one of the only people on Earth who knows what he looks like because he developed her as an asset while he was planning to kill her parents.
That
allegedly.
Was so fucked up when that story started coming out that Dreorg for months was like creeping on her at the fucking college, and then is the reason that her parents got murderlated on that plane.
Yeah. But also, Dreorg, like, I am very excited about his book because he's basically trying to tell her the whole time that, like, her parents' death was not the plan. He's trying to tell her the whole time that, like, he's not a bad guy.
Deep undercover. He's like,
he's one of it is.
That's got to be what it is. That's what my assumption, listener.
Like he's a double agent.
I think that he's just insanely deep undercover. Like they talk about those spy stories where somebody has been a spy since it's a fucking spy master. I think that he's a what's her butt where he has been essentially like in this for so long, like. Since a youth,
he doesn't know if he's good anymore.
A child, like he. I think that because he gets his cover is blown in the 5th book. That's what the whole thing is
blown right now. He gets transported back to Gentleman Rogue. She captures him later in the book.
Yeah,
so,
but like
maybe his cover's not blown.
In the synopsis is that he. For the 5th book, because I went and looked at it, is that he is, like, his cover is blown. He can't do shit with Massimo anymore, and so he has to do everything differently, and so he ends up stealing away some lady that Massimo's weirdly intrigued by, and so it's a road trip abduction,
fun,
per safe romance kind of vibe, I think, and I bet, listener, you'll find out.
Yep. So Gabe is undermining her at every turn. He's undermining every decision she made as team lead. He's making her feel terrible about her performance on the op, and it's really, really terrible, honestly. But then they figure out, no. And so then she goes, I was going to skip something very important.
I was
And
so
how
ready
dare
to
I?
clock you and make you take a seat. I was staring at the fucking line, and then I could tell you were going. I was like, "Is she gonna catch
Watch
herself?"
her go. Watch her go.
I was gonna let you hang yourself. Is what I was gonna do.
You were going to clothesline me
Yep.
on the way.
Red Rover, fuck you. So this is when we have the scene with Kismet. We learn about the Kismet night because he goes and confronts her, and he's like, "Hey, she's at Tabs' house off campus."
Yeah.
And he's like, I am relieved I'm not crazy, but also I don't remember that night, and asks her to tell him.
And I'm so mad at you, you know? And like, and I loved this conversation because he sort of required her to be accountable while still understanding that she was in a lose-lose, fuck myself situation, you know? And so it was this
That's
really
a
great
messy
balance.
situation.
Yeah, it was a really great balance of, I understand why you did that, but I still have my very valid feelings about you doing it kind of thing. Yeah, and then she tells him about that night that Sabrina knew way more about than me, but I learned a lot in this conversation.
So, like, revisiting it in this, like, the entire time I was screaming at her. Because, like, her description of the night to him was it was a flat line when it should have been, like, a screaming heart rate monitor, right?
Oh.
So he is like, it sounds like a Kismet night. And she's like, what the hell is a Kismet night? And he explains that he thought, like,
Something
it's when you
Charlie
meet the girl
made
of your
up.
dreams. And Charlie always described it as a Kismet night, but it just never worked out. And I cried. I cried when he said, whenever he thought he'd met the girl of his dreams, he always described it as a Kismet night, though it didn't work out until he met his fiance. She was who he would have married, I think.
Yeah.
And I was like, but
and
also
he's like, I'm really happy that she managed to move on and is happy now, but still, it's heartbreaking. So then he grabs her hand and he stands up because he says, are you resisting because you don't want me, or are you resisting because this is something you have to do? Yeah.
Well, this is a context that you wouldn't have because you didn't read the air. So she says, after everything's done, she's like, are we good? And he says, you're asking me if we're good, if I'm okay with the fact that I can't have the woman I have feelings for? And she's like, what are you saying? And he's like, how can you be so bloody brilliant and so fucking dumb? He doesn't say it word for word like that. But then he says to her, I'm going to take your hand and I'm going to lead you into the bedroom and then I'm going to hold you. Okay? And the night in the air, they weren't gonna have sex. He literally at one point was just like, just come lay with me. And they go up because he's taking care of her on her birthday. And it was so cute. There's so many parallels between that first night and the progression of this relationship. And it was adorable. So
that's great. So
wow,
they have crazy sex. Crazy good, explosive sex. And she leaves because they both get called to a meeting or something and they find out that there's been a development with Massimo and Graciela and they have to go to New York to find out more stuff or whatever and do spy things. And
one question.
Yeah.
It's a little thing. This just didn't track. So while they're having sex this night, they realize suddenly that he's not wearing a condom after he's inside of her. Mind you, they've never used a condom. Not the night on the island, not these things.
Not even in air?
I don't remember.
Okay, fair enough.
And she's like, oh no. And he looks at her and says, would it be so bad if I fucked a baby into you? And she's no idea. Yeah, honestly, miracle.
You're 22 and a spy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I already feel more put together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, because like what we were talking about earlier before we even started recording,
Wrap it
listener,
up.
was how
Mm-hmm.
like, and it's probably, you can probably chalk it up to our ADHD, is that there's no such thing as a habit for us.
Yeah.
There's just no such thing as a habit. Habits don't exist. And so
it's incredibly
it's
hard
really
to
easy
parkour
fall
while
out of them.
pregnant.
It's not a magical,
you know?
oh, I've been doing this every
Like,
day for
that's tough.
or whatever. It's, oh, I'm doing this every day for 9 months, but I fucked up for
This is
3
what I'm
days in a
saying.
row, and now
How
it's
are you
like
gonna fit
it
that
never
belly
happened.
into that hidey hole? How is it gonna happen?
All right. So your lady love is becoming champions. I love that. I would also like to
step
give
by
you
the
shit
step of the help me.
for the fact that you literally
Okay.
less than like 5 minutes ago gave me hell
Oh God!
about
ew.
me going for lady
Georg
love.
is
I got
adopted.
to first when I had
All right, so they
no
go to
idea
New York.
my
It goes
lady love was, and I was going to whip
and,
it out my
Graciela gets
asshole,
away, and
which
then
I
she
did.
gets nabbed by Dreorg.
And you had it,
and he takes her to like
written
some house in Queens
in
or something.
your
And so he has her
notes.
tied up, and he's being like, I wish you knew
listener,
all, and like,
every
pay
defense
attention to
starts
what is
that
being
way.
shown to you, he says. And she's like, why don't you just kill me? And he's like, you know, I would actually let you go, but you would follow me, and like, I really can't deal with you right now. So I'm going to leave you tied up or whatever, and your people will come get you. And then he fucks off. Lachlan gets there, and then Drake is like on him, being like, oh, wow, I like Dreorg is like, no, I understand. So Dreorg is like, oh, wow, you're their boyfriend, huh? Well, how does Gabe feel about that? But like, I like you or something nuts. And then he fucks off, and then the whole house explodes.
I mean,
cut to her being like, it's so weird. I was actually, yeah. And her being like, it's so weird. I was actually in the front of the house, and the bomb was in the back of the house, and like, I didn't get hurt at all. So that's fine. They all... Totally. Yes.
what our actual lady love mutually today is ADHD coping mechanisms and how your friends can assist with that. Feeling seen by your neurodivergent buddies. Anyway.
Uh-huh.
And love yourself.
Are you
as
questioning
much
me?
as you love John Hartley seductively whispering in your ear.
He's terrified. And he knows it. His inner monologue is like, stop, don't say it, why are you doing this? And his mouth just can't.
She's basically like, fuck you, I'm following my gut. And it says, he thinks, at the end of the day, she was there to be a field agent, not the woman I loved. But all I wanted to do was hold her in my arms and keep her safe, whether she wanted it or not. And yeah, buddy, like, this is her whole life. She has wanted nothing more. She's told you multiple times that
Rogues
you can't make her choose. You can't make her choose. And there's been a couple of scenes in his head where it really clocks just how much he won't be in a relationship with just her. It will always be a relation. Like, she will always...
And, like, if he leaves Rogues, he leaves her. She's not interested in, you know, dating a civilian or whatever, which is nuts because that's the only thing she can legally do. It's fine. Anyway, so they end up capturing Drake.
Legally?
Dreorg.
I like that the idea of the British government being like, guess what? Actually, there's a law. You're going to jail for dating somebody who's a rogue. This black ops. This isn't even an official government.
No, I know.
Organization. That's what I'm saying is I love the idea of fucking government being like, this has been through parliament. There's record that this black ops organization, if you fuck around, you will find out.
That's right. Yeah. So they end up back in England and they're debriefing and they broke up because he doesn't believe in her. Like, she cannot be with a person who would question her like that. And he completely understands. He knows that he's super fucked up.
I loved that, by the way.
Yeah.
That he's not like, I can't believe she would do this. He's like, no, yeah, I am.
I led with my feelings. Right. So we end up with this third act grovel that's full of grand gestures. It's fantastic.
So while there's this third act breakup going on, at one point, this was so cute. She's at Tabs's house and she's upset. She's crying. And then snacks start getting fed under the door at her. And she's like, thanks, Tabs. And upset about all of these things. And then she's like, our whole lives, all I've ever wanted was for Gabe to love me. And I thought he did, but now it seems like he hates me. And then through the door we hear, I don't hate you. And they have brother-sister love conversation, and it's super cute. And then also he's like, by the way, I totally know that he was dipping his wig, like there was no hiding it. I'm a fucking espionage head of department.
Right. Yeah. Oh my God. And so, but he says about a month ago, because of that, because he makes you smile, I chatted with Oversight and they're going to change. Not yet.
Pardon the flip-flop fuck out of me, Melody Carlisle.
No, that's fair.
So he basically gives her his blessing. He's like, you deserve, cut him some slack. You love him. He loves you. And she's like, yeah, but he doesn't trust me. And so I can't do that. Locke then goes to Tabs, gets a whole talking to, because he's like, I need to talk to her. And Tabs is like, get fucked.
Yeah.
You gonna have to do some work, buddy. And I'm not just gonna give you the key. And so he realizes he needs to do these things. He starts doing these big grand gestures. He gets her perfume made. He finds her mom's diary, all of these things. Super romantic.
And we never get any, and I don't need it, right? Nana Malone, you did nothing wrong, but it is baffling to me that he just comes up with the lost diary and figures out the perfume. You know what I mean? And we have no explanation as to how. It doesn't matter. Again, I didn't want it or really need it, but I do wonder, in the back of my mind how that happened.
Well, I whimsied that, but now I'm wondering. So thanks for that. So it's been a couple of weeks. They end up having some
they have to
fuss
do another
in the gym.
Thing.
They do have some hot sex in a gym.
Oh yeah, they have. We're still broken up sex. In the gym.
It was great. And then they find out some intel about Graciela. She's going to be in New York. And so they go to get her again. This time they successfully grab her, bring her back to Rogues. I will be honest with you, Mel. I had no idea what Graciela was, what was happening with Graciela.
All I know is that I got squeaked out because she's fucking both the dad and the son because they like to share. Don't love that. Hated that.
Did not.
What?
I didn't clock that.
Yeah. She is basically way more in the mix. She knows way more about the business and the arms deals and the blah, blah, blah than they thought at first. They thought she was just some Spanish actress who was dating the son, but it turns out that she was dating the dad for years as well. And
how does Dreorg come into this?
They like to share. They were never dated. Okay, here's how I think it happened, right? Because
explain I'm 5, please.
No. I'm going to explain for me too, because I need to do it in a linear manner in order to make it happen.
Yep.
So when she's tied up in that chair in Queens somewhere, right? Dreorg is she's like, yeah, it was really fucking creepy when you were hitting on me. And he says, yeah, you're really not my type. I would never have fucked you. And she's like, oh yeah, that's so gross. But you're fucking Graciela. And he says, you think I'm with Graciela? So I think what happened is that Dreorg was coming in to be he's around the corner at the button shop. And so go to the dad mozzarella and maybe do that there. And he's not actually the person she was dating.
You know what I just realized, Mel?
What's up?
I don't fucking care.
Right?
So, anyway, he is talking to Gabe, basically. So the spy stuff in this book is done. And he talks to Gabe. We find out that Gabe, a month ago, put in a work order, basically, to get rid of the fraternization rule. Because it, like, whatever, we did a thingamabob, and, like, the data shows that...
scientific study on a Black Ops organization.
That, interconnected relationships make people stronger, and blah, 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 whatever, it doesn't matter. So Lachlan tells Gabe, you have two options. One, I finish my training, and I leave the rogues if I can't have her. Two, by the way, he doesn't have her right now. They're still broken up. Two, I stay on after my training is done. I get to have her. You change those rules. And you get the billionaire rogue that you've always wanted. And Gabe's like, joke's on you, buddy. I already put in the work order, and it's fixed.
I submitted it, and it's already been through billing.
And so Lachlan rolls up to Tabs' house. And her room on the comp. It doesn't matter.
Who cares?
Rolls up. That's one thing. Okay, Mel, this is one thing I've realized about spy romances. There's just so much. I think that's why I don't read a lot of action romances. I don't care.
No, totally.
About 90% of it. Like,
yeah.
I like it as a vehicle for getting other things into my brain.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It gives me the tropes that I like, the catnip that I desire. It's kind of like, what is the, this is a vehicle for getting blank into my body. You know, like I don't actually care about the thing. It's just, you know what I'm talking about?
Like coffee for caffeine?
No, I can't think of a single example. I know exactly what I'm talking about, but
I'm sure you do.
There's somebody out there screaming right now. So anyway, he gets to her little place to grand gesture her. I don't really understand what he was grand gesturing. Doesn't matter. Whimsy. And she opens the door, and she is wearing the exact outfit that she was wearing the night of her birthday.
At the club.
Because she was about to leave and go grand gesture him. And they grand gesture each other, and they're so happy, and they say, I love you to each other, and...
He explains that he's gonna be a rogue, and they're together forever now.
Yeah, weirdly, they have, Georg sign off on
them boning down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the epilogue is, like... I don't remember whose perspective it's from, but they basically describe, like, their life now. And it's that he is, playboy by day, rogue every once in a while. She's rogue full time, but they live together and they sleep together, and like they want to be with each other as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. He bought a house so that they have a space of their own. Super sweet. And then Saint gets kidnapped, and the end.
The end.
They live happily ever after.
Because Saint's book is next.
Mm-hmm. You're correct.
Oh, good. Cool. And then
I acknowledge that you were correct quite a while ago, Mel.
Sorry, friendo. Yeah,
you were just so excited that you were like, I know
I
know
did
the order of these books.
Yeah. Look at me go.
I fully thought that Georg and Tabs' book was next.
I thought so, too. That made sense to me. I wasn't shocked when it was Saint, but I was like, I really thought I was going to see Gabe's name in the description. But, nah.
Mm-hmm. All right, what's
Sabrina,
your lady
what's
love,
your
Mel?
lady love? Nope, I got you first.
I got you
no,
first.
I got you first.
Don't you fucking edit this shit so that you...
No!
I did it! Okay, fine. My lady love. Every fucking time. Mel, I've been recording with you for over a year. You've been doing this for 8 years.
I've been doing it for 7. A minute.
Every fucking time, though. My lady, you know what my lady love is? The fact that you and I talk at least once a week. And yet, anytime we fucking hop on a call together, we end up having just chat
Uh-huh.
So my lady love is having an endless pile of bullshit to talk about with your bestie. Like every time I think that, like, I'm like, man, I don't know what we're gonna talk about today. We end up having a 30-minute pre-record conversation about some random ass shit.
Yeah.
Where we're just catching up on each other's lives, even though guess what? We've been texting all week. And we talked on for like an hour and a half on Monday.
Uh-huh.
And it's been less than a week. But we're like, this is a more important conversation. So you know what? That's my lady love, is just endless bullshitting with your besties, you know?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So this is weird because I checked my notes and apparently this is kismet. This is not me riffing off of you. This is in my notes app in my phone.
Is this a kismet night? Are you realizing that you may have met the love of your life?
Yeah, I think so.
But then you die in a car crash and she goes off and finds love anyway?
That's actually not my plan, but really who knows what the future holds. You know what I mean? Anyway, my notes app says, our Becoming Champions meetings.
All right, listener, our full pod lady love today is friendship.
Yeah. Yeah, and like using it for different things, right?
As
like,
needed.
The bullshitting it serves a necessary function, but then we set up. So I listened to a podcast called Will You Accept This Rose? And over the past like year or two, the host Arden has been talking about like her quest to become a champion. And in her case, it is because she kept on talking down about herself. And she had a friend say like, don't give people the arrows to shoot you with. Like, you got to come to every single, I know, right? You got to come to every single activity like, I'm a champion. I'm becoming a champion. This is what I'm doing. Like, that's the energy you need to go to the world with. And so her learning to not like self-deprecate in a serious way is her way of like becoming a champion. And I loved that, right? And so Sabrina and I realized that my life was falling apart, most definitely. Sabrina wasn't, she wasn't on the brink of anything, but
I was also falling apart. You can say it. It's fine.
Yeah. So we decided
basically
that
we needed accountability partners, not for like podcast either, just our general lives. Because just for context, we have very similar jobs in the sense that like I work for a company and you work for essentially you're self-employed,
right,
through podcast, but
it's both work from home jobs.
It's work from home, and we're both in charge of our own schedule. We're in charge, like we are completely in charge
of the structure. And like that's the last thing. I need external structure is what I need. Yeah, so we decided that we're meeting every Monday to like set us up. We tell each other like how we did last week on our goals and what we want to accomplish this week. And then on Thursday, we have a champion check-in most of the time.
Yeah, I was going to say, not that we've done that since like July, but it's fine.
Yeah.
But like, and we have like monthly goals that we check in once a week. We have 6-month goals. We have yearly goals that will change as needed. And it's just really nice having somebody. It's also like, for me, it's one of those things where like there's somebody else there to be like, how are you doing? Because I'm a verbal processor and like external processor, and so there's a lot of stuff that I won't necessarily realize until I'm talking it out, which is basically like earlier when I was talking about like bullshitting with the bestie. That was what it was.
That's what
earlier
we were doing.
We were verbally processing some stuff.
Yeah, so it's been really great, and it's kept me on track in a way that I needed hard. For August, I had a hard... Oh, my God.
We're out of school, so we put Becoming Champions on hold for like 3 weeks, and when both of us tell you that everything fell apart.
Everything was a fog. I can't tell you what happened in August. Like, I have no idea. Podcast came out. That was good. Yeah. Yeah, so now that we're back on our bullshit with Becoming Champions meetings and like being accountable to each other, same. And I'm remembering the good habits that I can forget on a dime. Yeah. So Right. Yeah. Yeah. "21 days." Yeah. And so now it's gone. Yeah, I don't even remember doing it for those 9 months. Like, I don't, it's gone. Yep. Yep. Oh. Hmm. Mm-hmm. You did. In my defense, Sabrina, okay, in my defense, I didn't know if I had already burned through the Lady Loves I had written down at some point in my life. And B, I thought I had maybe accidentally deleted that note in order to take literally one note on the king. It's one line that I wrote. Hold on. Let me find it. Okay, so the top is just King is the title of the note. And then my only note for the entire book is nighttime he tackles her. That's it. Because I meant to be like, nighttime he tackles her. She, she training him now. They do rabbit hunt. Like, I was going to put all the things in an order, and then I just forgot to. I clicked out of it. I was probably like doing dinner or something, and then I never came back. Yeah, for sure. Yup. All right. Keep being a badass. And love yourself. John Hartley asking you whose pussy this is? Oh my God! All right.
I can read the craziest shit, but the minute it's somebody whispering it in your ear,
it changes things.
It really
it's a different dynamic.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
We love to hear what you think about all the books we recap. So go comment on our social media or get into the Discord and tell us everything. And our DMs are open, like very open. Okay, we'll be back next week when we recap Impromptu Match by Lily Mayne. It's an monster romance set in an underground wrestling league, and it's so delicious. Heaving Bosoms is produced by us, Melody Carlisle and Sabrina Bradley. Editing is done by me, Melody Carlisle. Our theme music is by the incredible singer-songwriter Brittany Fonts, and our art is by the ultra-talented author Kate Pryor. If you like our show, remember to follow us on your favorite podcast app, rate us 5 stars, and leave a review. That one small action is a huge way to help the show. If you want to get in touch with us for advertising inquiries or anything else, you can email us at heavingbosomspodcast@gmail.com. If you want more of us, visit patreon.com/heavingbosomspodcast. You can also find us on Instagram at heavingbosoms, on TikTok at heaving_bosoms, and in our Facebook group, the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult. If we don't chat before then, see you Monday.